social indicator research. He has served and is serving as a guest editor of several journals, including the British Food Journal, International Journal of Manpower, Journal of Hospitality and Tourism Research, Journal of Consumer Behavior, International Journal of Culture, Tourism and Hospitality Research, and European Business Review. He has won Best Paper Awards 7 times, a Young Service Researcher Award in 2014, and an Emerald Literati Award in 2018. He is the first and currently the only Emerald Ambassador in East Asia, covering countries like Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, Japan, Korea, Brunei, and the Philippines. He is also attached to other institutions as an adjunct professor or scientific committee member, such as the Griffith University in Australia, Research Synergy Foundation in Indonesia, and Ming Chuan University in Taiwan. So without further ado, let us welcome our speaker for the day, Dr. Hiram Ting. Sir?
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Professor Darrell. Thank you, the MC, Miss Nika, my friends, Professor J.R., Mermac, and all of you who are present to be with me. I'm happy to be here. It's an honor. It's a privilege to be able to see all of you online, albeit the pandemic crisis. It is a blessing in disguise, even though we want this pandemic to be away, God willing. In a sense, it becomes a blessing in disguise where we can, we can expand our network, we can do things different ways. And I believe such an opportunity today is a result of our endeavor, our passion in academia, in research, in order to help all of us, including myself, to learn more, to utilize all the resources around, and to be able to on our family, on our organization, and also on our society. Now, I would like to quickly introduce, because I bring 2 persons to be with me today. One of them is Dr. Sharifah. I'm not sure whether you can see her. She is my good friend. She is currently serving as the vice UITM Malaysia, Sabah branch. Sabah is not far from the Philippines. So, yep, there she is, Dr. Sharifah. Okay. There is similarity between UITM and PUP because UITM is also the largest university in Malaysia by student population. So, so anyway, thank you, Dr. Sharifah. Mental support. Anyway, so I also bring along my colleague, my assistant, Mr. Chan. Okay, so he usually likes to hide himself, so you might not be able to see his face. Anyway, oh, there he is. Okay, so he has been with me for quite some time, helping me up with a lot of research activities, not all, but also research for companies, for business organizations, including government agencies. Thank you, Chan, for being here with me. Okay, now I'm very bad at keeping time, so I'm aware that the first session will have to finish at 3:50. I would politely, request, to remind me if my time is up. Okay, just
Okay
stop,
po.
just stop me. Okay, all right. Thank you so much. Now, let me share the slides with you, and then I will, um, use the slides to discuss a few things related to the scope and nature of business research. Sorry, let me go to the first slide. Oops. Okay, the nature and scope of um, business research process, and literature review. Now, these three things are huge topics. So I must confess at the very beginning that I will not be able to cover a lot in the next 3 hours. And I believe these classes by Professor JR and Maggie Mermack, okay? They have their schedule. That's why I discussed with them this week whether my guest lecture will become an interruption to their progress. So anyway, I hope, today it is not so much a lecture. It is more like a sharing. It is more like a sharing. So I will not be able to cover everything related to the nature, the scope of business research, business. But I hope through my sharing, you would be inspired to do more reading, to do more writing, to consult your lecturers, and to discuss among yourselves how to get into these topics and learn more in the coming days. Okay, so very quickly, again, my quick of the Philippines for those who are making this happen. Again, I'm glad to be here. This is a very quick introduction about myself. I'm just another ordinary person, but I hold multiple roles. The reason is because I'm very curious about many things, and I will talk about it later. And I'm passionate enough to do things not only in the academia, can be translated into something useful to the industry and to the community. Now, if I understand correctly, the participants today are MBA students. In other words, you are working adults. You are holding positions in companies, in having different professions. In the past, I've always liked to teach MBA students. Right now, I'm with UCSI, Professor Darrell, not UPSI, UCSI. These two are different universities. No worries, many people get it wrong as well. It is UCSI University. My current university at the moment does not offer MBA, DBA programs. But in MBA students, I have always liked to teach them. Or should I say, I've always liked to spend my time with them. Because on one hand, apparently they were learning something from me. At the same time, on the other hand, I was actually learning a lot from them. I find the process very rewarding. I really enjoy my time discussing with them. Uh, 2018, and there were about 35 students, and they all ended up choosing me as their supervisor for their final research project. even though it was exhausting. I told them you can choose other people to be okay. Even though it was exhausting, but again, I must tell you, I learned a lot from them. Some of them are managers, some of them are directors, some are from tourism sectors, some are from information system sectors, some are from other universities, other organizations. So when I guide them to do research, business research, even though I uh, research research techniques better than them, they actually know what they want to study, the context better than me. Okay, that's why I told them for your research, for your business research project, just do something related to your company, do something related to your industry, do something that you are interested in. And true enough, something related to their profession, they did something related to their background, and the supervision has been, as I said, has been rewarding. I taught them how to do research, and from their work, I learned, what the company is about, what management is about. There are so many practical things that, as a researcher, as a professor, I might not an encouragement to all of you that knowledge and practice, these two worlds need to come together, and there are so many things we can learn from one another. And again, I'm really happy to be here, to be able to know practitioners in the Philippines, in Manila, and I hope again my sharing would be of relevance to you. Okay, regurgitation of textbook. I can, at the end of the lecture, I can tell you, where the online sources are, which textbook you can refer to, and I'm sure your supervisors have, all this in abundance. And that's why I hope in the next 3 hours, if I can inspire you a little bit, to enjoy doing research, to see how research is related to your profession. I achieve that, and I would regard my duty or my role today as a success. Okay, so anyway, okay, so these are my roles. Basically, I'm everywhere, doing different things, and I see value in it is. I think it makes my life better, more colorful. I think at the end of the day, that is most important thing. Okay. Again, Professor Darrell introduced me briefly. In particular, I'm involved in Emerald Publishing as an ambassador. One main reason why one main reason why they appoint to work with them is because of the commitment to make a real impact on the society. As you might have known, in academic, we emphasize a lot on publication. And when we publish, we want to publish in top journals. Why? Because impact factors, and you want your H index to be high. Something which most universities are doing, most academics are doing in academia. But at the same time, I have been wondering, when I publish a paper in top journal with high impact factor. Is this paper really, really relevant to the community? Are these papers really, really of use to the practitioners? I doing a number of consultancy projects with government agencies, with business organizations, with NGOs. And one thing, one issue in particular, I'm not sure about the case in the Philippines, but I can say in general, without any specificity, in Malaysia, that many times we and when we get the results, we are so happy with the results. We turn the whole thing into a report. We present to the management. The results look good, and it is something which the management people like to hear, like to know. Everyone is happy, and they get the report. We get our money. Win-win situation. But far from the truth, the results, the recommendations are actually not feasible. Even though the results look good, even though the recommendations look impressive, actually, in many, many cases, they are actually not useful in reality. It does not really create a positive impact. We spend the money, we invest the money, it seems to work, the day when we implement. After a week, after 2 weeks, it still looks good. But after 1 month, it becomes ineffective. After 3 months, after 6 months, it is altogether ineffective, and therefore it is something not sustainable. This is the the situation in many places. Therefore, there are people who argue, those of us who learn knowledge in the universities, and those people who are in the industry, these two worlds do not seem to converge. There is a huge gap between university and industry. What we learn, and those in the in the real world. All right. Again, this is a situation today, and I'm sure many people have been trying, doing things in order to close the gap. Whatever we learn can be translated into the industry. Whatever we make a positive, they can provide positive inputs to the academia, to the academics. So when these two worlds work together, I believe we will be living in a better world where where the things that we learn can be effectively channeled into action, into something to benefit the community. And this is the main reason why I am appointed as Emerald Ambassador. Now, the reason why I spent a few minutes telling you all this is because, again, all of you are MBA students or you are working adults doing research, taking postgraduate studies. I believe we are instrumental in a particular situation because we are the people who hold the keys to two worlds, industry and also research, academic. We have a significant role to play to close the gap, to believe in research, and at the same time, to do something not only for promotion, not only for important, it is also for generating a real positive impact on the community. Okay, so anyway, as I said, this will be more like a sharing. I hope I'm doing the right thing today. There is a quote, preparation. If you do not invest time to prepare, you will waste time to repair. And that is why it is so important to know the scope of your research and also your research process. Do what is right and not what is easy. There will always be shortcuts. There will always be shortcuts. Some shortcuts are okay because it helps you to, to do things. How should I put it? You don't have to do redundant things. Okay, so there are shortcuts which are okay. However, you must be careful. There are shortcuts where you will take in the so these are the shortcuts you need to be mindful of, because if you do that, you are actually compromising, sacrificing the opportunity to learn more. Okay. Now, when we talk about business research, it is a process. It is a learning process. It is not like an assignment. It is not like an exam where you can do things in a disjointed manner. Okay, I learned a bit today. I take a rest for 3 days. Then I learn a bit tomorrow. 3 days later. You can't do that. Some of my students, they cannot study until the night before examination. For some reason, before the exam arrives, they just cannot study. But the night before exam, suddenly deadline becomes their motivation. Suddenly their brain opens up and they can study, they can do really, really well. Okay, that's fine. I mean, different people, different situation. But when it comes to business research, I could be wrong, but I would say don't do that. Don't do that. Miracle may not happen if you do things the night before. The reason is because when you write your thesis, when you write your dissertation, when you write a paper, it is like writing a storybook. Continuity is very important. Your storyline is very important. What you wrote last week, today, when you look at it, last week you spent 2 hours writing one paragraph. Today, you may spend 1 second deleting that one paragraph. Now, this may sound, like a waste, but actually in research, this shows that you are making progress. What you read last week, what you wrote last week, you spent hours, but because you keep reading, because you keep writing, so today, when you look at it again, you become the best critic. You become the best critic of your work. You look at it, my goodness, did I really write all this? This is totally nonsense. This is totally, way off. You spend 1 second deleting. Now, as a working adult, time is important to you. And therefore, you are, this is a greater challenge to all of us. When I did my PhD, I was working as well. So I understand the challenge, and I have family to raise. I have kids. I had to juggle PhD, work, family, and also my social obligation. All at the same time. You really need to manage your time, because it is a waste if you do your MBA, if you do your postgraduate study without learning as process. You are writing a storybook. Continuity is important. You don't have to read a lot today. You don't have to read a lot every day, but make sure you do things in a consistent way. Every day, or at least 2 days, one time, read a bit, write something, do it consistently to make sure the story flows, the continuity is there. Now, you may agree with me. You write a lot today and you take a break for 4 days. On the fifth day, when you read, when you write, you will feel as if you start from zero again. Okay, so that is my experience. I'm not sure about you, but again, this is a quick overview. Uh, as working adults, I can empathize your in the past few years. All my MBA students, I uh, I I blend with them quite well because I have been through all this process, and then when I spend time with them, I want to make sure they know I understand the situation, and I cannot guide them like any full-time masters or PhD students because their situation is very different. Impress you from this particular slide, and that is curiosity. Curiosity. The reason why we do research, is because we are curious about things. This is the origin, if I can put it this way. The origin of research is not about nothing wrong if we want to do MBA because we want the title for our promotion. Nothing wrong. If you get your MBA, if you are promoted, we congratulate you, you deserve it. Okay, but let's go back to the origin of research. It's about curiosity. When we were all young, when we were all small, we were curious about so many things. My kids asked me so many questions, and some of these questions, even as a PhD holder, I'm not sure how to answer. They were curious. They are curious about so many things. But as we grow older, it seems we become less and less curious. We are told to accept things. We are molded into certain system. We are, again, nothing wrong if we need to oblige. We need to comply with so many things. But that little thing, that curiosity, that mind, which is curious about so many things, that should be the motivation to do. Manila, when you look at the pandemic, when you look at tourism situation, when you look at social problems, if it creates curiosity in you, I want to know the truth. I want to know the reality. What is actually happening? If this can be done this way, can I do it another way? Can I find another way to do it? Is there a better way to improve our? In the past, we only had taxi. Someone someday thought about it. Can I make people travel better? Can I provide more convenience to people? That little gap, that little curiosity can be a wonderful research, and it could be a wonderful solution to many individuals, to many. Go on. So this is one thing I would like to impress you. Again, very quickly, I just want to show you, I have been curious about so many things. I'm still curious about many things. I'm curious about all of you. I can't see all of you, in a physical way. God willing, either you visit me in Sarawak, let me know, or maybe one day if I visit Manila, I will be able to see all of serve with this food. I could not finish. Okay, obviously. So I was curious. when people could not finish their food, what would they do? So I want to know disposition behavior, the behavior of disposing things. So eventually I wrote something related to disposal, and that paper is published in the Journal of Retailing and Consumer Studies. I'm not really in Generation Z. I might not even be in Y. Okay, so maybe that will tell you how my age today. But I have been seeing people, taking selfie. I was not really an Instagrammer, but I registered, I signed up in order to do research about Instagram. Okay, now I'm become an Instagram user. So on and so forth. Eventually, the paper is published in Internet Research. Then again, I went to Starbucks. I went to coffee shop. I'm not really a coffee drinker. I'm not really a coffee lover, but I went there to do other things. So I become curious. Is every customer in Starbucks a coffee lover, a coffee drinker? I saw people, drinking their work, checking stock market. So, so I am curious about it. So eventually, I do a study about infrequent customer. Again, this paper is published in another journal. So again, I just want to share with you how curiosity becomes that little fire which you can fan into flame. Eventually, they turn into a publisher. Impact, which I've said enough. I have 10 minutes before the first break, so I have to hurry up. Now, when we talk about the nature, the scope of business research, these are the things you can look into. Of course, as I said, I will not be able to cover everything. Either it is either it is a basic research or it is an applied research. Again, I'm not sure what is the requirement at your department, at your university. But when it is about basic research, it is not focusing on solving specific solution. When it is on applied research, then it is about solving a specific problem. Okay, so that is the fundamental difference. Now, again, as I said, when you do a business research, it is a process. There must be an issue for you to investigate. And since all of you are working adults, the best thing to look for issues, the best way to look for issues is to look at your organization, your industry, because you know better than us. You know better than professors. Okay, you have been in banking industry for 10 years, 15 years. You know better than any one of us. So that is how you identify you want to study, the phenomenon you want to investigate. Now, when we say it is a research, okay, number one, if you look at the slide, not intuitive, not something hazily gathered. If it is something that you already know what the answer is, then there is no point to do this research because it is no longer a problem. If answer, you already expect the answer, perhaps this is not a good research problem that you should do research on. Okay. The next point, accurate, objective. Again, we will talk about it later. Why you have to be sure what you want to investigate. Okay. This morning, I brought my little boy to see a specialist. He has some issue with his eyes. Situation. Why? Because when he asked the kids, my boy, what happens what is the problem. Whatever he describes, it could be a problem. It could also be a symptom. It could be a problem. It could also be a symptom. And this is something that we must be very careful, because when we do business research, as I said earlier, there must be an issue. There must be a phenomenon to investigate. If it is something which you already know the answer, then maybe this is not worth researching for. The potential problem, the potential issue here is, you may think this is a problem, but actually it is not. It is just a symptom. Okay, you may think sales drop is a problem. Maybe it is not. It is a, just be careful. You must be accurate, and you must exercise your objectivity, because many times we have preconception, predetermination. And later on in the last part of the lecture today, we will talk about literature review. Why literature plays a very important role to formulate, to determine your research problem. Okay? Now, if you go to the rest, development, problem definition, searching for, collecting information, analyzing data, communicating the findings, all this I will discuss with you in the second session where we talk about research process. All right, so I hope I give you an overview what research is, why it is a process, and what you are going to expect when you do a research. It is not like an exam. It is not like just any assignment. It is something which continuity, storyline, your passion, doing something related to what you are interested in. All these are important ingredients to make your research a good research. And for me, to make it more practical to all of you, this is the nature, the scope of. If I have a few minutes left, Google tells me this quote is from Albert Einstein. I don't know how true it is, but Google tells me so. I like this quote a lot. The mere formulation of a problem is far more essential than its solution, which may be merely a matter of mathematical and experimental skills. To raise a new question, new possibilities, to regard all problems from a new angle requires creative imagination and marks real advances in science. Solution. Many times, in my experience, I'm not sure about you, the main thing is how you formulate the right research problem. When you do your research, when you do your business research, what is the scope of your business research? Okay. Yes, solution will come later. Yes, we really look forward to knowing what the solution is. But research problem is inaccurate. If the scope of your research is inaccurate, too wide or too narrow, all this will have serious impact on the outcome. So whatever you do, whatever you achieve, there will always be a question mark. Okay. So for me, this is a very good quote. How do you look at the problem? It could be an. You don't have to do something totally new. Okay. Sometimes when we do research, we want to do something totally new. Yes, you can, but you don't have to. You can do a research on an old problem, but you look at it from another perspective. That is also an advancement of science. Okay, and if you look at the diagram, that's why prior knowledge is important, but at the same time, your observation is also very. They come to me, they ask me, sir, what topic can I do? Or they ask me, sir, can I do this topic? Normally, I will tell them to do two things. Okay, normally, okay. Number one, you must read more, okay, because literature is important. Number two, I want them to think about what they want to do and talk to people about what they want to do. For me, that is observation. Talk about it. You may think this is the problem, but when you spend another week, 2 weeks to talk to different people, your view may change. You may begin to see something else, something more interesting. So when they come back to me again after 2 weeks, that discussion is usually more fruitful, because they don't expect me to give answer. Now they can exchange ideas with me. That is observation. Again, this is something I hope all of you can learn to do when you do your business research. Okay, and this will be my last slide. Very quickly, when you do any business research, you must consider again the scope. Now, these are the things normally supervisors need to advise, because students might not know what will happen later. But it's good to know at the very beginning, effective way. Number one, the topic that you want to do. Yes, interesting, but number one, can you finish on time? Can you finish in time? Number two, can you get the data? Okay, your study is interesting, but are you sure you have access to the data for your study? Okay, number three, nature of the decision. Okay, who are involved? Are you going to report your results to top management, middle management, to the ministry, to business organization? Different stakeholders, different expectation. Okay. Number four, benefit and cost. Do you have to spend a lot to travel? To pay enumerators to collect data from you? So all these are things that you need to practically consider to decide whether the topic, the research that you want to do, they are feasible or not. Okay, I think I will stop here for the first session. Sorry about the time. Back to you, Miss Nika.
Thank you, Professor Hiram Ting. So it was an informative topic, and personally, I enjoy it. So everyone, now the floor is open for the questions or clarifications. You can now unmute your microphones. So anyone?
Am I being too fast?
No, sir. It's
okay. All right. Thank you.
Anyone who has question?
Any question, or you want me to speak more for another 7 minutes?
Can we? We're enjoying. You can.
I'm okay. I'm okay. So, or maybe they prefer to write their questions in the chat. Then I will spend 10 minutes, answering the questions, if any. Oops. Would that be okay, Miss Nika?
Was a question, or you can type it on our chat box. Here we go, sir. One question from Ms. Maribel.
All right, thank you. If we want to discuss a topic on business research, we also want to get good results. But what if the results is not aligned on what we are expecting? Does it mean that we have incorrect calculation, or we gather insufficient data? Thank you, Maribel. Okay. Now, this is a very interesting question. This is, in fact, a huge question, which would require one workshop to cover. But let me try to answer it, briefly. Now, when we do research, if our research design is appropriate, which I will discuss later. Now, problem is correct. If your research questions are correct, if your research objectives are correct, your research design is correct, if you do your research in a rigorous manner, everything is properly done, then you don't have to worry about the results. Because if the results are good, good results are results. If the results are bad, to discuss why it happens, why it did not happen. Okay, so again, you have to be careful when you do research. Remember earlier on we talked about intuitive. Many times when we do research, unconsciously we expect something. Okay, you have to be careful because that expectation may imply answer, then there is no point to do this research. Okay, it is no longer interesting. There is no novelty, no originality in your research. Now, if the issue is interesting and these issues are turned into your research problem, and you have research questions, you have your literature review, you have research design, everything is done, correctly. You don't have to worry about good results. All results are results. If my hypothesis is supported, I explain why. If my hypothesis is not supported, I also explain why. Sometimes, or in fact many times, hypotheses which are not supported are actually more insightful, because now not only your result is in line with the literature, your result is challenging the literature. This is where you create new knowledge. This is where you extend knowledge in that particular domain, in that particular discipline. Now, my response is just one aspect. I know, this question is such a big question, but if you wish to ask again in a more specific way, to the question. Okay, so, but of course, the last point, insufficient data. This is another huge question, because when we learn about research methodology, that is where we will talk about your sampling issues, your sample size, your target population, calculation. So that will be another issue. So at this stage, if you have not started your business research, or if you just start doing your business research, pay more attention on your research problem, on reading the right literature, and also your research design, which I will discuss later. Pay more attention on this. Okay, if you get things correct at the beginning, things will be all right later. Okay, thank you again. You have mentioned a while ago about curiosity. Can we develop curiosity? If yes, how can we develop curiosity? Because just like, for example, I myself don't usually observe things. I'm not a fan of asking too many questions, so I'm having a hard time in choosing a topic. If you can just give us tips to develop a good topic. Now, Maribel, you are certainly asking another workshop. But let me say this again. Let me give you one aspect of the answers. When we talk about curiosity, of course, there are different levels of curiosity. If you are a person who does not really see things afar, okay, you know, not a problem. You are more introvert. You are, you know, you are more comfortable with, you know, your own comfort zone. You can develop curiosity by asking, by looking at your own experience, by looking at your own experience. Okay, you don't have to, you know, look at the pandemic crisis. You don't have to look at tourism industry in the Philippines. You just look at yourself. For example, just example, when you go to a shopping mall, I don't know, 10 years ago, okay, Manila has so many big shopping malls, okay. Now, you wanted to go to shopping mall A, okay, but when you travel, suddenly you decide, you decide, I want to go to shopping mall B, okay. You plan to go to A, but at that moment when you go out, you know, when you know, drive, have this ever happened to you or something, you know, similar? For me, this is something interesting. This is where you should ask yourself, why did I change my decision? What makes me change my decision? If I am the owner of shopping A, I would be interested to know why customers change their decision. Would customer change decision in the very last minute if concerns business? All right. So what you can do, what you can develop, you look at yourself first, because you are a consumer, you are a customer, you are an employee, you are a tourist. Check your own experience and relate your experience slowly to others. And I believe by doing this, your personal experience can turn into a researchable topic. Did I answer your question? Okay. So instead of looking outward, you're looking inward. And from there, you develop into something researchable. Okay. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for so much information. And now we'll be having a 10 minutes break before we proceed for the next lecture.
Okay.
So during the 10 minutes break, we can discuss our insights with each other. So the 10 minutes break starts
Okay.
now. Thank you, sir.
See you later. Bye.
See you later po.
Hi, sir. So far, how's your experience?
That's good. That's good. As usual for me. Just that I don't know the participants well, so I'm not sure how well they receive
The lecture.
the the lecture they're sharing.
Definitely, sir. Definitely, our students would appreciate your lecture.
Okay.
Actually, sir, they are enjoying your lecture.
Yeah,
Okay. All right. All right. I hope I did okay.
we are actually
Yes, you did.
we 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 are actually afraid that our students would look for you every week.
No, should be okay. I will turn them to all of you, to both of you.
Hopefully, sir, by the next semester, you could be able to join us as a visiting professor. So you will have your regular.
Okay. Okay. Then I have more reason to take leave from my university. You rescue me from from my comfort zone.
And we would very.
um,
Yes, sir.
no worries, no worries. I just joined the breakout room. Now I just returned because no one, no, everyone left the breakout room. So I
Oh,
just no question, no question over there.
okay, sir.
Yeah. About 30 to 50, 30 to 40 students, right? Just now, when I look at the number of participants.
They are
Actually, sir,
50,
we
55.
but
Oh,
the 5 are faculty members from the College of Business.
okay, okay, all right, all right. By the way, JR and Mermac, is it? Sorry,
Mac.
Sir,
Mermac,
it's MECMAC. Yeah,
Mermac.
yeah.
Okay, Mermac.
Thank you.
By the way, I have included two of you together with Daryl to be in the
Mm-hmm.
editorial review board of
Wow,
the new journal. So
wow, that's great, sir.
we are
Thank you, sir.
finalizing the website, everything, and when the website is ready, we will, I will send official email to all of you, and most likely we will arrange an online session where all of us can know each other, meet, I can introduce each other, so that will be a good network collaboration.
That would be nice, sir. That's great. We're happy.
Yeah. Oh, happy
And
that
we are
you are
excited.
you are willing to join.
Yes,
join.
Yes, sir.
willing
We
to
are pretty
join,
much willing to join.
and we
Oh, that's,
are pretty much excited to read researches and review them.
mm-mm.
Yes.
Yep, yep.
Yes.
Um, I managed to convince a few big names to join this new journal. So hopefully these few experts would know all of you and to develop future possibilities
Yes,
to create more value.
yes, sir.
Sir, can I invite you also to be part of our editorial board of our college journal?
Yep, sure. Let me know. I just want to make sure I can be of help to you rather than just putting a name. Let me know about it. I'm more than happy
Uh-huh.
to join if I am the right candidate for this journal.
All
Definitely.
right, sir. I'll send you the details next week, sir. The
Yeah,
formal
yeah.
invitation.
Take your time. Yep. If you can send me the link first, I can go through. At least I have some ideas what it is. That would be good.
Actually, it's a baby journal.
Oh, okay, okay. All right.
It,
Okay.
so we don't have a website.
Okay. All right. No worries then. No worries. All right. Then I shall wait for your email then.
Okay. All
Yep.
right.
Sir,
Thank you so much, sir.
I will be closing all the session rooms.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
So we're back. Is everyone okay? Now we'll proceed to our next topic, lecture on business research process. So let us welcome for the second time, Dr. Hiram Ting.
Thank you. Thank you, Nika. Um, Before we move on to research process, I would like to briefly discuss about the table at the bottom half of this particular slide. In general, when we do business research, there are three categories or there are three possibilities. It could be an exploratory research, it could be a descriptive research, it could be a causal research. Now, if we read different business research textbooks, you might see there are different variation, different categorizations. Okay, but in general, these are the three. Which one? No research is superior to the others. It's all about appropriateness. It's not about superiority. You can't say, oh, causal research is better, therefore I must do causal. Okay, it may be better, but it may not be appropriate. Why? Because you have to decide which approach investigate based on your research problem, which I will discuss again later. So you have to look at your research issue. You have to look at the issues that you want to investigate. You have to look at your research problem. From there, you determine which research approach is more appropriate. Exploratory, meaning you explore, and therefore, most likely, you will adopt a qualitative approach. Qualitative approach. Why? Because the issues that you want to investigate is not fully known. It's not fully known. Okay? And therefore, you have to explore. When you explore, not only you have some ideas what it is about, you also want to allow emerging themes, okay? Things that you don't know, but when you explore, you begin to understand what else is in the phenomenon you want to investigate, okay? So this is exploratory research. You have issue, you want to investigate, yet your research problem is not fully defined. Have some answers, but you don't know. There could be something else. There could be something else. Okay, if this is the type of, if this is the issue that you do your research on, then perhaps exploratory research is more appropriate. Okay, now if you do a research where you know what your research problem is about, and it is very to know frequency, you want to know percentage, everything is very structured. Okay, for example, those people who do research in the shopping mall, more intercept. Okay, in the shopping mall, you know, this researcher, they have a piece of paper. Maybe there are only 10 questions. Okay, they stop you. All are highly structured. Okay, so yes, no, yes, or whatever. Then finish, they let you go. Okay, the reason is they know they cannot hold you for too long. You are shopping. You don't want to be interrupted. So in this situation, your research problem is known. Your research problem is known. But you need data in order to facilitate your decision making in the later stage. And in this situation, this research is more descriptive. Why? Because based on your data, you can describe what is happening. You can describe the number, the percentage, what is happening. So if that is the case, if that is the issue that you are investigating, perhaps descriptive research is more appropriate. Okay. Now, if you do a research where you want to assess relationship, okay. For example, there are factors affecting an outcome. Okay, causality, cause and effect. All right, how A will lead to B, how B will lead to C. Then perhaps causal research is more appropriate in your study. Okay, so again, I can only briefly explain using simple terms what these three research categories are. So in short, none of this is superior to the others. Depends on your issues that you want to investigate and your research problem. Now, at this point of time, I hope you can see one important thing, and that is, if our research problem is wrong, your whole research will be wrong. Okay, that is why the formulation of research problem, your research direction, it determines your research design. Okay, I've seen many students in Malaysia doing masters, doing PhD. They need to spend 6 months, 1 year, or they may discontinue because of their research problem. What they think is research problem later on is found a symptom. It's just an issue. Okay, I will explain what it is. Okay, so again, you have to go through the textbook, and I'm sure in the future classes, your lecturers will discuss further on this. I just want you to be impressed. If you get your research problem wrong, it will affect the entire research design. So you have to be very careful. Either exploratory, descriptive issue, what your research problem is. Okay. Now let's move on to the next slide. Okay, again, I must be cautious of time. Okay, very quickly, I can't interact with all of you. I cannot interact. So I will just, ask the question, give you 30 seconds to think about it, then I will give you the answer. All right. Let's look at the second picture. Okay. Now, do you see any a bus, 2 compartments, heavy traffic? So when you see this picture, what is the issue? And can you turn this issue into a research problem? A problem where you can do a research on. Okay, and make sure it is something feasible. Okay, as we discussed, something you can do in time. You have the budget. The scope is not too wide, not too narrow. All right. So in the past, when I show this picture to my participants or my students, they would tell me traffic jam. Therefore, the problem with the traffic, that bus is a problem because that bus, driver, you can blame the bus, you can blame the bus company, you can blame the policy maker because the road, the system is bad. Different people, different views. Okay, what I want to highlight is, now, if this happens in Manila, the busiest place in Manila, do you think this is a problem? The peanut in Manila. This is nothing compared to Manila. Okay, if this happens in Sarawak, then we will complain every day. But if this happens in Jakarta, because I'm sorry, I have every good thing. I have all the good words about Manila except the traffic. Okay, from the airport to that bicycle with a, is it tutu or whatever? I can't remember. That little thing. Anyway, trishaw. Okay. Anyway, so if it depends. It depends. Now, if you look at the picture carefully, this is actually not a traffic jam. Okay, this bus is purposely designed in, and this is actually green light. Okay, this bus is making a rightful turn, okay? And these cars are waiting. This is actually not a traffic jam. This bus is designed to carry more people, and this bus is designed to make a sharp turn to avoid traffic jam. Okay, so different people, different view, you would have different answer. You can develop interesting research problem by looking at the phenomena from different perspective. For some people, this is a problem, and the problem is the driver. For some other people, this is a problem, the problem is the bus. For another people, this is a problem with the transportation. And it's about how you view the problem. And later on, we need to discuss, it also depends on how you justify your problem based on literature. Okay. Now, let me say this before I continue. When you have an issue, in order to make this issue a research problem that you want to investigate, there is one thing is very, very important, and that is literature. If this is an issue and you turn this issue into a research problem without literature, this is not a research problem. This is your problem. This is your problem. This is my problem. Why? Because I don't like it. Traffic jam, I don't like it. This is an issue. This is a problem. Sir, madam, this is your problem. But in order to make this issue a research problem, a problem which is worth investigating as a research, you must have literature support. You must have literature support. And this is what we will talk about later, okay? Because when you look at the literature in the middle, if the literature gives you all the answers to address the issue, then what it tells you is this is a research you don't have to proceed because you already have all the answers in the literature. Issue, before it becomes a problem, you go through the literature, and in the literature, you find all the answers. If that is the case, you better change your issue, or you better adjust your issue. You look at the issue from another perspective. Now, when you look at the issue from another perspective, you go back to the literature again. This time, you find some relevant literature, but these relevant articles do not explain everything about your issue. What happens next is those gaps, GAPS, will help you to justify what is your research problem. Are you all still with me? Okay, you have the issue. When you want to turn it into a research problem, your business research problem, you must have literature support, because you cannot say this is a problem because this is my imagination, because this is my experience, because I say so. You cannot. Unless one day you become Professor Philip Kockler in marketing, then whatever you say, we believe you. Okay? But until that day, whatever you say this is a research problem, you must have justification. And these justifications come from literature. Now, in general, if literature gives you all the answers to address your issue, then this suggests, number one, you don't do this anymore because this issue has been addressed before. It is not interesting. Or you still want to do the same issue, but you have to look at the issue from another perspective. using another angle, perhaps this will make this issue more interesting than before. Now, in this situation, you go back to the literature again. I'm sure you will find some relevant articles. However, when you read these articles, yes, I find some answers to these issues, but yet these answers do not fully explain the issue I want to investigate in Manila, in Sarawak. This gap is the justification that you use to explain what is your research problem. You get the point? Then your research carries weight. Your research will provide insights, something that you do not know because of your intuition. Okay, so whatever the results are, it's interesting. Okay, because yes, you confirm something. Yes, you say something in line with the literature, but at the same time, you provide a little extension of knowledge. This particular issue, in the context of Manila, this is something interesting to all the researchers throughout the world. Okay, so again, this is just a brief exercise to make my point clearer. Sorry, I have no time for this. Basically, you look at this picture. It looks like a bug. It looks like a dinosaur. It looks like whatever, a grasshopper. But when you change the picture this way, to save time, this way, you see something else. This is a very simple exercise. You know, I'm sure you all have done this before. If you do this, then it looks like a cowboy. It looks like a cowboy. So I can send the slide to you. You can do that. Again, this is just another example to show that what you see at the beginning, no matter how much you believe it is a truth, may not be true. May not be true. Okay? Talk to people again. Observe again. Read some literature. Your original issue, your original problem may develop into something more interesting, more feasible, more actionable. It contributes more to knowledge and also to your organization if you do a research related to your organization. Okay, so this is just a simple exercise to make my point. All right, okay. Again, this is something really, really important, but I don't have enough time to go through everything. Now, when you do business research, business is a broad term. It's a broad term. It can be a marketing research. It can be a management research, human resource, talent management, organization behavior. It can be about tourism. It can be about hospitality. So when we talk about business research, it covers a lot. Again, all of you have your professions. You don't share similarities. Some of you are from banking industry. Some of you may be from food and beverage industry. So when we do a business research, in particular, when we do a social science research, I cannot say 100%, but maybe 90%, maybe 85%, maybe 80%. Most of your research is related to behavior, okay? If you do accounting, for example, then you are looking into, let's say, valuation of real estate. Then you don't really deal with human behavior, okay? But if you do a marketing research, employee research, organization behavior, human resources, tourism, travel, most likely you will be doing a behavioral research. Your study, your research concerns human behavior. Now, the point I want to make here is this. When you do a research on behavior, most likely there will be factors. How A will lead to B. For example, if I like Manila, my interest in Manila will lead me to my intention to visit Manila one day. My intention to visit Manila one day will lead to my decision to actually visit Manila one day. Okay, so interest is a behavioral factor. Intention is a behavioral factor. Decision to visit is also a behavioral factor. Now, I have to do it really quick. The reason why I say all this is because when you do a behavioral research, when you do a social science research, when you do a business research, 80% of the time, you will need to look into theory. Okay? So this is what that slide is about. Okay? The reason is very simple. Theory is something that gives you the basis why something is happening. Let me repeat. Theory provides explanation why something is happening. Theory gives you a scientific explanation what is happening in the phenomenon. Theory explains why A will lead to B, why B will lead to C. Now, I just provided 4 definitions of theory, but all these 4 definitions, the meaning is the same. Theory provides explanation what is happening. Okay, when you do a research, remember what I said earlier, when you formulate your research problem, you must refer to literature, okay? At the same time, you must also look into theory, because without theory as your underpinning basis, there is no way for you to postulate. There's no way for you to assume what you want to do will happen, okay? Even though you are a manager, even though you are a director, even though you have been doing this business for 30 years, for 40 years, unfortunately, because this is a research, you cannot just rely on your gut feeling. You cannot just rely on your past experience. You cannot just rely on your success story. You must have a theoretical basis for you to make an assumption why this may happen in order to make your work a scholarly work, so that when your work is published, people will know what is your contribution. People will also know what is the limitation of your study. And those people in the future, they can stand upon your work, they can stand upon your shoulder to make further contribution. Your work become a scholarly work. Even though there is contribution, there is also limitation. It's perfectly fine. Now it becomes part of a scholarly work for future scholars to investigate. If you write a book, this is based on my gut feeling, this is based on my past experience. Yes, useful, but it is not scientifically proven. There is no theoretical basis. It is difficult for general public, for scholars to replicate. It's difficult for us to learn because everything seems to be so abstract. Okay. Therefore, again, please don't take it personally if I say your past experience is irrelevant. It is relevant. Okay, you are a manager for 30 years. Your past experience is critically important. But when it comes to research, literature is important because you have to know what has been done in the past before you make any assumption. At the same time, you must know what theory what is the theoretical basis for you to make an assumption what you want to investigate? Because research must be a scholarly work. People would know what your contribution is. People will also know what your limitation is. Eventually, your work becomes useful for future investigation. I can only say so much because there's so much in this simple diagram. Just bear in mind right now, whenever you do a social science research, you do any studies related to behavior, employee behavior, teacher behavior, workers behavior, managers behavior, leaders behavior. When I talk about when we talk about behavior, it could be decision making, it could be something psychological, it could be something motivational, it could be something social, it could be something cultural. All this, okay, you need a theory at least as your support to make assumption. Okay, if not, this is not a scholarly work. This is not a scholarly work. This can be a consultancy project. Okay, but this is definitely not a research work. Okay, so when I did my PhD, the first few months, the comments that my supervisor gave me is, Hiram, your writing is okay, your English is okay, but your writing suggests that this is not a scholarly work. Okay, because I write as a practitioner. Okay, nothing wrong with the English, nothing wrong with the writing. However, this is not a scholarly writing. Okay, why? One of the main factors is there is no theoretical basis to support your claim, to support your argument. All right, let me continue. I'm sorry. I hope you are still with me. Okay, now you see this is another two gigantic diagram. I don't know. Now I'm sweating. How am I going to finish all this? Okay, this is the research process. You begin with the research idea. Remember why I kept on saying earlier, you have to read literature. Okay, and remember I said earlier why you must look into theory. You must have something as your foundation, grounding for you to build your case. To build your case, there must be something for you to build a case. All right, here. Then all this will help you to formulate your research problem. If your research problem is correct, it will be very easy for you to develop your research questions. Okay, and research questions basically is research problem in the form of questions. All right. Then remember, as I said earlier, once your research problem is correct, your research questions are correct, then it will give you a very clear idea how your research design should be. Okay, and your research design covers a lot. Okay, so again, everything begins with an idea, your curiosity. But whether it is researchable or not, you have to read, you have to know what are the theories to support your argument. Then you will be able to formulate your research problem, you will be able to formulate your research questions, then you will be able to develop your research design. The whole thing will be fine. Even if you did something wrong, that mistake is excusable, is forgivable. Okay, don't worry about the results. Supported, if your hypotheses are supported, explain why. If your hypotheses are not supported, explain why. Not an issue at all. Okay. You may not believe me because you are still at the early stage. I can tell you by experience, because I've seen so many cases, so many students, when they show me their results, something is wrong. Okay, something that is really, really wrong. Okay, I can tell you in many cases, when I look at the results, I realize the problem is not because of the result. Then I go backward. The problem is not with the data. I go backward. The problem is actually with your research, is because of the research design, or even worse, we go back. The problem is because of the research problem. If that is the case, and if I have a cold heart, if I'm a cold-hearted person, I will tell the student, congratulations, you have to restart. You have to do all over again, because your results are bad, not because of the data. It goes way back to your research design and the formulation of your research questions. Okay, but of course, there are many ways to manipulate. Sorry, this is recorded, right? There are many ways to tweak here and there to make it possible for you to proceed. Until then, today, I hope you, all of us, we don't take a shortcut. We do it correctly, and let's hope we get the things done correctly at the beginning. When something really goes wrong at the, at the later stage, check with JR, check with Mermac, or if I'm still around, you can email me. Please tell me you are from PUP. Then at least I will try to reply your email earlier. Okay. So anyway, now if you look at the other diagram, basically it is the same thing. All right, it is the same thing. Why research problem, research questions, research design are so important. Okay, are so important. So I have a few notes there. All right, this is basically what I told you for the last 2 hours. Do you have any interesting topic, idea? What are the issues? What does the literature say? Okay, and what is the research gap? How do you know it is a gap? You know it is a gap when you find literature which is relevant to your issue, but the literature does not explain everything about the issue. Then this is the gap. All right. Then this helps you to formulate your research problem, your research question. Then it will help you to develop your research design. Okay. So this is just another way of looking at your research design. Now, research design is a procedure involving collecting, analyzing, interpreting, and reporting your data. So it is a process again. You have to know what is your target population, your sample, what is your instrument, how you collect your data, how you analyze your data, how you interpret your data, how you report your data, how you conclude your report with recommendation or implication of study. Sorry if I spoke too fast. So that is your research design. Even though reporting of data, analysis of data only come later, it is important to design now. I hope you get the point. Even though you don't analyze your data now, you only analyze your data later. It is important to design now. And this is why all of you, it is important to read. It is important to talk. It is important to talk to your seniors. It is important to discuss with your supervisor, because many times we don't see so far. Because we don't have the experience yet. We don't know what may happen later. So my decision is based on my feeling, what is good, what is bad. And we have to talk. And therefore, if we talk to our supervisor, then we will be able to see, okay, whether my decision right now will affect my data analysis later. Okay. For example, my student last month, she told me she wanted to do a study about restaurant revisiting intention, and she wanted to collect data from the restaurant. and she planned to collect data 1 month later, which is today. Today. I told her, this is a good topic. Data collection, feasible, very good. But have you ever thought about the pandemic? Have you ever thought about customer sentiment at the moment? Because you are collecting data at the time of the pandemic. You thought everything will be perfect. Everything will be wonderful. Another unfortunate thing is sometimes we thought we are living in the ideal world. Unfortunately, we are not living in the ideal world. Many things can go wrong. So I told the student, are you sure you can collect valid data when you distribute your questionnaire during the pandemic time? Not many customers are willing to go to the restaurant at this point of time. She did not think enough, but luckily she checked with me. Because of that, we changed her topic a little and we turn it into something more feasible. Okay, this is just an example. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that. Okay, therefore, research design is very important. Should you collect data using paper questionnaire? Should you use online questionnaire? Okay, if you want to interview, should you do personal interview? Should you do focus group interview? I'm sorry, I don't have all the answers for you today. This is just a sharing to make you aware that this process is very, very important. Okay, I must proceed because we need to stop somewhere. Okay, this is just a very this is just an example because again, I don't want to teach. I don't want to treat this like a lecture. I like to talk to different people, okay, in order to make sure what I study is correct. By the way, this is a study about Rainforest World Music Festival, okay. This person, Mary, she still is one of the directors at Sarawak Tourism Board, okay. So it's better to talk to them to make sure what I want to study reflects what is actually happening on the ground. Okay, this is the permanent secretary of Tourism Ministry in Sarawak. This is the CEO of information system company providing all IT solution to government. Okay, so these are my friends now. All right, now all these people are from the Ministry of Health. Okay, all these people are from the Ministry of Sport, culture, whatever. Okay, this is what this goes back to what I said earlier at the beginning, and I think all of you are really, really crucial because on one hand we do research in the academic, in the tertiary education institution. On the other hand, we know what is happening on the ground. So do something related to your background. It is not a must. It is just a suggestion because by doing that, you will be able to combine these two things together. All right. So for me, again, observation, literature review. What is it earlier? Oops. Okay. The whole research design. Okay. Whole research design. All right. Let me give you a quick example. If I want to do a research about tourism economics, okay, and I need secondary data, and I thought this is wonderful. Why? This is super easy. I know how to do analysis. I don't have to interview. I don't have to distribute questionnaire. But you may forget, how do you have access to secondary data? Okay, so if I don't know him, this is currently the tourism minister in Sarawak. If I don't know these people, it will be very difficult for me as a master student to write a letter and to ask them, Sir, Dato', can you share with us your tourism data? I don't think they will entertain us. Okay, this is why, again, your research design, you must think through. You must think through. Yes, secondary data, wonderful. However, do you have access to the data? If you want to interview the minister, yes, wonderful. But you must also ask yourself, would the minister entertain you? Okay, so this is why how you collect data, how you analyze data, how you interpret data, this is your research process, research design. Again, think about it, talk to your seniors, discuss with your supervisor. Okay, these are the three things I can advise at the moment, because I cannot give you a formula. Okay, you must read, because by reading past articles, you will see different options, how you should design your research. Number two, talk to your seniors, because they have done it before. Number three, you have to talk to your supervisor, okay, to make sure your research process, your research design, something will still go wrong, but at least they are not serious. Okay, very quickly, I did the consultancy project for Ministry of Health. Eventually, this report becomes a publishable paper, okay? Because I want to combine these two worlds together, all right? So it can be done, it can be done. These two worlds can be converged together to help the academic, to also help the practitioner, all right? Okay, I think I will stop here, because this is just another two papers. There are stories behind, but I don't have time to tell you the story. Again, why literature review is so important, why observation is so important, why theory is so important, and why research process, research design is very, very important. Okay, this paper I wrote in order to promote Sarawak. Okay, this paper I wrote also to promote Sarawak. Okay, this is just ethnic food, Dayak food. I don't know what is the ethnic food in Manila. You can write a paper on this. This paper, Journal of Ethnic Food, is indexed in Scopus Q1. Q1, okay? So it's possible, right? And this is the paper. I get a lot of information from Wikipedia, but of course you don't copy and paste Wikipedia, lah. All right. It's easy. I just introduce the food. So it can be done. So anyway, my point is, because I don't have time now, my point here is, when I do this study, I really, I really spend time to think through what I want to do, what type of data I should collect, and then how should I analyze the data. Even though things might go wrong, things might not go according to plan. At least it is well planned, and if something goes wrong, you can always change a little bit. Okay, so eventually you can still proceed. All right. So again, this is about research design, research process. Once you have your research problem and research questions sorted, then you must make sure your research process, your research design is good. You don't know what may happen later, but at least you plan. How do you plan? To conclude in this session, number one, you must read. Read what has been done in the past, okay, so that you can think what you should do. Number two, talk to your seniors. Number three, talk to your supervisors, okay? So to make sure this journey, this process is a smooth sailing one. I'm sorry, I exceed my time. Is there any question before we move to the next one? Oh, yes, sir. So Miss Nika, should I just look at the question straight away? Or you have to say, do you have something to say? Or should I just look at the question? Sorry, Miss Nika, I can't hear you. Just wonder what I should do now. Take a break or answer the questions. Hello.
There. So thank you, sir, Dr. Hiram, for that information. So I know everyone is really learning, and what you have said a while ago is noted, that if our research problem is wrong, the whole research will be wrong. And thank you for sharing to us the importance of literature, the theories, and building relationship with other people so that you can gather data and information as well. So do you guys have questions? You can now unmute your microphones and you can ask questions.
Maybe I can begin with the questions in the chat room. There's one question from Abilona. What will be the government measure to address mass transportation? Um, I will not be able to answer this question. Again, it depends on the context. It depends on the context of the study because, like I said, for example, the picture which I showed you earlier, that traffic jam, that situation in Sarawak would be a traffic jam. But that situation in Ho Chi Minh City, in Jakarta, in Manila, is not a big deal. It's not a big deal. So again, it depends on the context. Also, you have to check with your program coordinator whether your research is a basic research or applied research. If it is a basic research, it is more about extension of knowledge without addressing any specific issue. If it is about applied research, then you need to spell out what is the specific issue, what is the specific problem. If this is a situation in Manila, and the government wants to improve the situation by 2022, something has been done, and you want to do a research, what else can be done, how all this can be done in a more effective way. You want to provide a specific solution. In that case, then you can come up with recommendation to the government. What are the measures? What are the initiatives they can look into in order to improve the situation to achieve their target by 2022, for example. Okay. I think that's it, right? Oh, you can extend your time. Okay. I can. Sometimes you know. Okay. Yep. If there's any question, just let me know. By the way, I don't really need a 10 minutes break. If you're happy with carry on with the next session, I can do that. But if you need a 10 minutes break for washroom break, I'm more than okay. So just letting you know.
Sir, we'll be having a 10-minute break for breakout session. So we'll be discussing the insights to one another.
All right.
So yeah, guys, we'll be having our 10 minutes break.
I will see you later in 10 minutes. 10 in Sarawak, then another 5 recommended or something they don't want to miss out. So we add another 5.
5 recommended places, but the thing is that under the module 3, we'll be deep diving into
Okay
the
lah.
details. For example,
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Then we just proceed with what you just said.
Okay. Then for now, we will be having 3 modules only.
Yeah. Yep. That's good. Sorry, JR, Mac, we are using the backup room to discuss
Don't worry, sir.
a
It's okay.
consultancy project.
It's okay.
It's okay.
A government agency entrusts us to do.
It's okay, sir. Don't worry.
Any comment from JR? Anything I should emphasize more in the last 50 minutes?
Actually, sir, I love your discussion because it draws from your experience. I believe graduate students must always relate theories that they are reading in different books to first-hand experience coming from you, who is a researcher, a published researcher.
And the students are actually all working adults, right? They are not really okay.
They're working adults, so they could be able to figure out that a research work should be coming from where I am, what I am exactly doing, what are the things that I observe, and I just have to look at the process and familiarize myself with the process, so I can easily get into it appropriately.
Okay, that's good. But I mean, a lot of work to be done. So I mean, kudos to you and Mac. To guide all these students. But in the past, I really enjoyed supervising MBA students because I learned a lot from them as well. That's how I met friends from managers from different companies. Yeah, I mean, all these MBA students, they are from different companies. Yep. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess we still have 3 minutes to. You can go to the toilet, sir, if you need.
I got all this done before the
session starts.
Yeah.
So we'll be sending you the certificate right after the session. We're just waiting for the signature of the dean of the college.
Thank you. Then another promotion on my Facebook later. And then I will.
And we are on live, sir.
Eh?
Your sessions are on live. Your sessions
really?
are on live.
Oh.
We post it exclusively in the College of Business Graduate Studies Facebook group.
Okay, in the Philippines.
Yeah, in the Philippines. But I tagged you on the poster.
Because sometimes I give examples related to Malaysia. Sometimes these examples are very sensitive. But sometimes I use these examples to help the students to understand better.
Yeah, plus students now should have a glimpse of an international perspective. So they must not be limited only to what we experience in Manila, particularly, or in the Philippines in general. They have to look at what's going on with other countries like Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, the neighboring countries.
Right. The slides, if the students want it, I can send to you because I update a little bit.
Okay, sir. Okay.
You want PDF or PowerPoint? Which one would you prefer?
I think PDF would be safer, sir.
Okay, I will send PDF to you. Email later.
Yes,
after
sir.
this.
No worries.
Okay. All right.
One more minute. Our dean attended one of the sessions.
Just now.
Yeah, and she enjoyed your lecture.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry for the mispronunciation of your university.
No worries, sir. No big deal.
No, yeah, not a problem.
Yeah.
It happens many times.
Especially my name, sir. My name is always mispronounced, and I always
Okay,
understand that.
okay.
Me too.
Correct. Okay.
My name is too
Yeah.
old for this generation, sir.
I mean, your name is really interesting. So that's why I couldn't tell.
We're going now
Is it
back, sir, to the
local
video.
or Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Should I press return, right?
Yes.
So we're back again. And can I ask everyone to please turn on your videos? We'll be doing some activities. So let us sit up straight. I'm looking at you guys. Let us sit up straight. Move your head to the left, backward, right, and front. And front, left, backward, right, front. So just do some stretching. I hope everyone was back to their senses and became active again. We'll proceed to our last topic. So, lecture on business research literature review. So, Dr. Hiram Ting, you can take your time, sir.
Thank you.
Don't rush. We're enjoying.
Thank you. I'm
Thank you,
always
Ning.
I'm how should I put it? I'm always appearing to be rushing because I try to utilize every minute to share as much as possible, but at the same time, I'm worried the participants are tortured by me. Anyway, um, I'm glad to know from JR from earlier that you have been receiving the lecture well. That's good. So let's continue. Okay, with the last section for another 40 to 50 minutes. Now, where is the slide? Okay. Here. Before before the lecture, someone from Sarawak Tourism Board just had a brief discussion with me because she wants me and my team to do a consultancy project for them, something which Sarawak Tourism Ministry wants to do. I told her that I'll be giving lecture in Manila, in the Philippines, and I promised her I will spend 30 seconds to 1 minute to promote Sarawak. So this is Sarawak. So welcome to Sarawak. When the pandemic is over, we need you to come over to revive our economy, Manila, the Philippines again. All right. So I told many people, the story behind these two papers, the research process, the research design. On the surface, it is about research. It is about methodology, because this paper in particular, we use advanced statistical technique to compare four regions. So on surface, people are impressed with with the theory, with the methods, but behind the paper, the motive is actually to promote Sarawak. So my point here again, spend time, reading, spend time discussing with your colleagues, with your seniors, and also spend time discussing with the faculty members, with your supervisors about your research design. Things will always go wrong. Things can always go wrong. But if you have a good design, all these mistakes are how should I put it? These are not serious mistakes, okay? You cannot come up with a perfect research, okay? Forget about perfect research. But you always have plan B, plan C to address the issues, okay? So let me begin the last session with this particular slide. This is Robert Parmentier, a big name in marketing. For those of you in marketing, you may want to know this journal called Journal of the Academy of Marketing Science is one of the top one journal, is top one or top two journal in marketing field. And Robert Parmentier is the former editor-in-chief of this journal. He wrote an article, he wrote an editorial, and I really like this, okay? Collaborating with business practice for impact. This is what I said earlier at the beginning. In academic, in the university, we are concerned about ranking, status. Nothing wrong with it. We are concerned about publication. We are concerned about citation. We are concerned about impact factor. Nothing wrong with it. This is the trend. This is the situation. We continue to do that, but at the same time, we have to do more, and that is we have to collaborate with business practice in order to make a real impact, not only to the academics, to the academia, but also to the industry, to the community. Again, all of you are very, very crucial. You can go through this paper if you want to. I hope all your research project. Admit again, I cannot finish on time. I will not be able to cover a lot. So I will just share with you a few things related to literature review, and hopefully there are some experiences where you can identify yourself with. You find it useful in your situation, how to review literature and also how to write literature. Now, there are 7 steps. Okay, identify your research questions again. All right, right at the beginning, what are the issues? What are your research problems? What are your research questions? Literature review begins when you have an idea. Literature review will continue until the night before you print out your thesis for submission. All right? So literature review is not a stage in the process. It is something that you do from stage 1 until stage 10, if stage 10 is the last stage. It begins when you have an idea, because when you have an idea, you begin to read. It ends the day before you print, because before you print, you can still update your literature. you can still update your thesis before you print. You can still do that. All right. So it is a process. It is not a stage, an isolated stage. It is a process. So again, it begins with your idea, your question, and then you review your discipline. You search your literature. You manage your references. You have to critically analyze, evaluate the things that you read, and then you synthesize. Eventually, you write your thesis, you write your review. Now, this is just one textbook because, again, like I said, different textbooks, different categorization. To put it simply, number one, the secret to review literature is to read, full stop. That's it. If you don't read, nothing will happen, all right? You cannot think about literature. You have to read, all right? Now, when you read literature, there are many ways to read. There are many ways to read. Again, I cannot say everything, but in general, you can scan first, S-C-A-N. You can scan. Okay, why? Because when you scan the article, you just want to have a general idea whether this article is related to the issue that you want to investigate. Okay, when you scan through, the answer is no, then you can put aside. If the answer is yes, then you can download, you can keep. Why? Because you need to read again. So in general, we will scan first, just to make sure, just to check whether this article is related to the issue that we want to investigate. Now, research is, like I said earlier, is different from assignment. Okay. There are two common problems when students do literature review. Number one, we list them, L-I-S-T, okay, or we call it listing, L-I-S-T-I-N-G, okay. So when you read the article, okay, and whatever you read, you begin to write. Now, when you write, for example, this paragraph, okay, Nika 2000 says, okay, then next paragraph, JR opined that, you know, another paragraph. Then the third paragraph, Hiram and Alan argue that, whatever. This is called listing. This is not a good literature review. Okay, so one paragraph from one source, another paragraph, another source, another paragraph, another source. This is called listing style. This is not encouraged because this is not what literature review should be. This is number one. Number two, this is called compilation. Okay, we are all familiar with this. Compilation of information. So again, we read a lot. When after we read, we just, you know, compile all the information in our thesis, in our dissertation. This is also not a research, not a scholarly work. So when people read, there are many ideas. Ideas are everywhere. Compilation of information, as if your thesis is another textbook. Your thesis is another manual of business research method. This is not encouraged. Okay, so what we want in your literature review, whatever you read, you have to critically analyze them, evaluate them. If you look at step number 6, this is the keyword. It's called synthesizing, synthesis, meaning you combine argument, ideas together, and you can write in your own words. Okay, you combine ideas from different sources and you can write in your own words. Okay, for example, um, customer satisfaction has been criticized as an effective measurement to understand consumer loyalty. In brackets, I put 3 citations, 3 sources. And that sentence, I write in my own words, okay? Satisfaction has been criticized as an effective measurement to understand customers' loyalty. I write in my own words. Where do I get the idea from? I get the idea from Article A, Article B, Article C. I combine these 3 articles together and I write in my own words. Okay? Instead of doing Article A say, Article B say, Article C says, this is called listing. Or you just compile everything together, and when you compile things together, you lose your own voice. You lose your voice as a researcher. Do you get the point? Okay. Yes, on one hand, we are doing a research. Yes, we review past literature. This is a scholarly work and we must write scholarly. Yes, this is all correct. However, at the same time, you don't lose your voice. Because if you lose your voice, then this becomes a compilation. This becomes a cut and paste, copy and paste work. All right? You just put everything together. This becomes a historical, this becomes a document of which, this is not really your work. This is not really your work. All right, so let's go through a few things here because, again, like I said, I can't really, cover everything. As I said earlier, the secret to literature review is to read. If we are not reading, then nothing will happen. Miracle will not happen in this situation. You have to read, and you can scan. If this is something useful to you, then you can read again. Okay. As you read, you can begin to write. When you write, avoid listing, avoid compilation. Okay. But later on, I will explain again how you can write. Because writing for full-time students and writing for part-time students for working adults is quite different. It is quite different. So I cannot tell you how you should write as a full-time student because it's very different. But let's look at the slide. Okay, I cannot do demonstration again because of time constraint. So I will try to explain as much as possible. Now, searching literature is very important. Searching the right articles is very important. Before you read, you have to know how to search first. Okay, so these are the steps I would, you can refer. Number one, consider your ideas and the pertinent issues. What are the ideas? What are the issues that you want to investigate? This is number one. Okay. Number two, use these ideas and use these issues to come up with keywords. Okay. For example, if I want to do a study about why customer is not happy, but they still go to the same restaurant. So satisfaction, they still want to go. That means loyalty. So these are the keywords. So you have to identify what are the keywords based on your research ideas, based on the issues that you want to investigate. Now, number three, use these keywords. Put them in Google Scholar in order to search for relevant articles. And sometimes you have to combine different keywords together because that would allow a Google Scholar to generate different results. Okay, so again, this is about searching articles. Now, when you use keywords and when you and when you use Google Scholar to search for articles, there will be, results. Before you click the article, before you download the article, just scan. Look at the title. Look at the brief description. Okay, because you have result 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just look at the title and the brief description to get some ideas whether this article is related to your research or not. Whether this is related to what you want to investigate or not. Okay, if it is something that related to what you want to investigate, then you can click, you can read the abstract. If the abstract is relevant to your study, then you can download first. Download and save in your laptop, in a pen drive. Okay, if it is not something that you want, it is not relevant to what you want to investigate, then you can change the keywords and search again. Now, what are the keywords you can change? At the beginning, you have keywords based on your ideas. But when you have all the search results, you can actually get ideas from all the results. What are the other keywords that you can use in order to search the articles again? So this is a process that you have to go through. The more you do it, the better you become. Okay, so listening to me, understanding what I explain is different when you actually do it. When you do it, you will know. Okay, if you don't do it, my explanation is still not really useful. Okay, so as you search, you will look at the results. These results will give you more ideas. Perhaps I can change my topic a little bit. Perhaps I can change the issue by looking at it from different perspectives. How? Why? Because you get the idea from the results. Example, I want to do a study about brain engagement. Brain engagement. So I type brain engagement, loyalty, customer, whatever. Then I have a list, thousands of results. Now, when I look at the first article, for example, the title and a brief description. The title is, example, brain engagement and disengagement. Disengagement. Now, this gives me an idea. Brain engagement, yes, this is something I like to do, but brain engagement is very common already. What if I do a study about brain disengagement? Now I will repeat. Now I will do another Google Scholar search. This time, brain disengagement. I will find more articles related to brain disengagement. Do you get the idea? You did not come up with disengagement at the beginning, but because of the search, you adopt the idea, you do the search again in order to find articles more relevant to what you want to study. Okay, this is a process you have to go through. The more you do it, the better, the more experienced you become, and the more relevant articles you will find. All right. Now, if we look at the next one, read the abstract to decide whether the articles are relevant and should be downloaded for further reading. If yes, you download. And after you download, after you save it in your desktop, don't forget to read. Okay, read, and you have to read again. Okay, so this is something, I don't know, maybe this is not part of this particular course, but I thought it is important because I've seen many students, including my MBA students in the past. They can read, but the issue is they don't know how and where to find relevant articles. Okay, this is the number one problem. They told me, I can read, okay, but I don't know where and how to find the right articles. And when they find some articles, they read, and when they show me the articles, then I try not to discourage them, but I told it in a very polite way. I think you have been reading the wrong articles. Okay, so they feel disappointed. So I know the very first thing before reading is the ability, the skill to find the right articles first. Now, let me say this. If you find right articles to read, okay, I cannot say this as a rule, I said it as a general assumption. If you find right articles for your business research, 3 to 5 will be enough. Okay, 3 to 5 good articles, relevant articles would be enough for you to do your business research. Okay, but of course, you need 10, 20, 30, 40 more articles in order to support. Okay, you need to read more. Yes, correct. But in order for you to have a good idea whether your research problem is okay, is fine, whether your method is fine, whether your research design is fine, 3 to 5 really good articles would be enough to give you some ideas, some good ideas. Okay, but of course you cannot just read 3 to 5. Okay, I hope you get my point. Huh? You have to read a lot. Okay, but if you learn the skill how to search the articles, 3 to 5 good articles will help you to decide basically what research topic you want to do. Okay, I would say these 3 to 5 articles already tell you maybe 60, maybe 70% of what your research is. The remaining 30% is from another 20, 30, 40 articles that you read. You don't have to wait until you read everything. By reading those few anchored articles, those most relevant to your study, you already have a good idea what your research topic, how your research design should be. Okay, so again, let me come back to this. The skill to search the right articles is very important. Apart from listening to my explanation, there is no other secret than doing it yourself. All right, now next point, other tips. Okay, indicate range of years. In Google Scholar, when you search, you can actually indicate, I want articles from 2016 onwards. So Google Scholar will only show you results based on 2016 to 2020. This is useful because this allows you to read recent articles. Okay, I hope. Sorry, I cannot do demonstration. So if you are not familiar with Google Scholar, perhaps you need to do that later. All right. Use cited by. This is another very important thing. When you use Google Scholar, let's say you have this article, the title, the brief description. Let's say this article is really relevant to your study, and this description explains well what you want to do. Now, underneath the description, there is a small, there is this little thing, cited by. If you click this cited by will show you all the articles that use this title, this article for reference. What does it mean? It means if you can search, if you can identify 3 to 5 good and relevant articles related to your study, these 3 to 5 articles will tell you where the other 50, 100 articles are. Okay, because cited by means they are, all these papers refer to this particular article as reference. If this article is related to your study, most likely all these articles will be related to your study. Okay, so this is just another skill to find articles, how to find the most relevant articles, and from there, you will be able to find all the other related articles. Of course, Google Scholar has many functions. You can actually tell Google Scholar what type of articles that you want. If you do that, you don't have to look for articles. The articles will look for you. The articles will be sent to your Gmail every week, every month, or every day. Okay, up to you. You can tell Google Scholar what you want. You don't have to look for articles. Articles will look for you. Okay, if you do that early, then you will avoid a lot of unnecessary process. Next one, identify the key authors. This is very important. If you do leadership, who are the authority in leadership? If you do a study about service marketing, who are the authorities in service marketing? If you do a study on sustainable tourism, who are the authorities in sustainable tourism? Why? If you know who they are, just go to their website and download their articles. So instead of looking for articles, you look for authors, and through authors, you read their articles or his or her articles with other people. This is another technique to make sure you find the right articles. Okay, and who knows, you can actually send an email to one of them. Sir, professor, your article really interests me. Could you share with me the questionnaire that you use for this article? Because I would like to do a similar study in the Philippines. Don't be surprised if this professor replies to you. This is a great study. Okay, here it is. This is the questionnaire. On top of that, I also share with you another 10 articles related to your study. If you need any help, let me know, because I have been wondering how I can do a study in the Philippines. Now suddenly this professor becomes your best friend forever. Not only he gives you a questionnaire, he also gives you the other articles, and he's happy to work with you. Okay, you make friend. Huh? So I don't know whether you can understand what I'm trying to say. You create multiple value when doing your study. If you know who the authors are, nothing to lose. Just write an email to him or her. He may reply, no time, get lost, no harm to try. Okay, just write. Because if he knows you, if he knows your interest, maybe he can also assist you in many, many ways. Okay. Now, next point, this is a shortcut. Huh? I always encourage my student, when you do a research, read a complete thesis related to your study. Get a feel of what you are going to go through, what you will go through. And when you read the thesis, you also understand the whole process. And by reading the thesis related to your study, you also look at all the past studies, because all the citation, all the references, all the factors, all are given. This is another shortcut. And can you see the link there? This is open access thesis and dissertation. Free download from the world. Okay, just type sustainable tourism in East Asia. Okay, you may find one or two or more than that, more than 5, I don't know, thesis dissertations related to your interests, from Australia, from New Zealand, from UK. Download it, read it. Number 1, get a feel how the process is. Number 2, at least you know how the process from chapter 1 to chapter 5, chapter 6. Number 3, you also have all the past studies, citations, references, everything in the thesis. Shortcut, huh? Okay. Anyway, I hope this gives you confidence. Spend more time on learning rather than struggling. Okay, this is also my advice to my MBA students. I don't want you to spend too much time to struggle. Sometimes struggling is necessary because that is where you learn things. But I see so many cases where they struggle for nothing. Okay, they struggle for nothing. So I give you all these resources so that you can, instead of spending 1 hour struggling to find the right article, why not you spend 5 minutes to find the right article and spend the next 55 minutes read the article. Okay, so that is what I hope to achieve. There are many other tools, okay, ResearchGate, okay, you name it. So, where you can find resources, where you can ask questions, experts will answer the questions. Utilize all these resources. This will make your MBA, your research journey more meaningful, more rewarding. Okay. Oops. Sorry, I think I clicked something. All right. So, all right. Again, I have no time. Sorry, my mismanagement of time. This is just another technique how you can review the literature. Okay, literature review, metrics or template. Okay, so these are the reasons. So by doing that, it helps you to manage your reading, to manage your references. It's easier for you to compare. It's easier for you to evaluate. It's easier for you to synthesize when you write your literature. Okay, so this is just another technique for you to do things. All right, so you have all the points here. Now, another 2 things, if you're interested, maybe some of you have known about it. This is called Quillbot. Another one is called Bee Writers. All right, you still have to write. Okay, but the good thing about Quillbot and Bee Writers is you can put what you write in this application, and they will come up with multiple options how you can write, and the meaning is still the same. Okay. Now, by saying this, I think some of you can see, a shortcut that you can take, and that is you can actually copy and paste the literature. You can copy the literature and paste it in the application, and the application will tell you how to rephrase all these sentences. Okay, so this is a shortcut. You can do it. Okay, or I purposely close my eyes, close my ears, but make sure you learn what. Make sure you learn. Make sure you learn. Okay, so there are many situations. I've seen many cases. Students can get literature review done super fast. Why? Because they copy the literature and put it into Quillbot, Bee Writer, generate, and then they paste. Some smarter one, they put it 1 time, they put it 2nd time. So this sentence is rephrased 2 times. Even turn it in, cannot pick up. Even self-assign, turn it in, all the similarity index cannot pick up. Now I feel bad because this session is recorded. This is live stream. Now I'm telling you all these shortcuts. But like I said, for practitioners, for all the MBA students out there, I know we cannot do research like any full-time student. Okay, there are students who graduate 24 years old. They do master straight away. They spend 8 hours per day. They can do everything. But for all of us who work, I know we don't have the luxury to do all this. All these tools are available. I did not create it. Even if I did not tell you today, someone will tell you also. So this is an open secret. So let me just make it clear. Use it, but at the same time, you use your time more judiciously, more effectively on learning the right skill, read and write, so that your research, your project not only allows you to complete your MBA, it is also something useful for the community. Okay? By all means, use all these shortcuts. Okay? with no shame. Okay, use it. But you simply utilize your time, optimize your time. Okay, so that you can learn the process better. Okay, because you are working, you may have family, you have kids. So I hope all these tools would be of use to you. Another thing is academic phrase bank. Okay, this is developed by Manchester University. Very useful. If you want to be critical, this phrase bank will give you all the suggestions how you can write a critical statement. If you want to disagree with something, this phrase bank will tell you all the sentences how you can disagree. Okay, so this is like a template. It shows you what you can write, and you just have to fill up the blank. How you want to disagree, how you want to criticize, how you want to compare, how you want to evaluate, how you want to synthesize. They give you a lot of options how you can make your writing better. If your writing, however, it makes it boring. Okay, examiners feel bored. But instead of using however, what are the other options? Again, it makes your writing a lot better. Or else, many times we have good story, we have good issue, but our writing is doing us a disservice, disjustice. Okay, so these are the resources that you can use in order to really, exemplify, make your research stand out. Okay, whatever you want to explain, your writing, make sure it is well delivered. So the examiners, the readers, they can read, they can understand perfectly. All right, so this is just another thing you can use. Okay, I think I'm almost done. This is something which I have said many times. Do something more meaningful, not only for the academia, but also for the community, making a positive impact on the communities we study and we serve. All right. A bit of promotion here. This is a symposium. I will inform JR, Mac about all this. This will be in November. This is a journal which we will launch soon. This is an event. This is an event next Tuesday. Preparing for your thesis defense guidance for business students. If you are interested, you can join the event. The event is free. Okay. Donation is optional. You don't have to donate if to join the event. So if you think this is something useful for you, to listen to the speakers related to thesis defense, feel free to join. All right. So I'm done. Okay. Do what you are passionate about and have fun. Have fun. Okay. I hope my time with you not only delivers the lecture. I hope my delivery also shows I am passionate about what I'm doing. Okay, I cannot see all of you, but I don't speak to all of you like a robot. Even though these are the things I have been speaking many times, I always feel I speak these topics for the first time to keep myself afresh and to show my participants that research is challenging, yes, no doubt, but research is also something fun, okay? Because you can learn so many things in the process. Again, you don't have to compare with other people. The only thing you have to compare is you make sure you make progress, okay? Remember what I told you earlier? If last week you spent 2 hours to write 1 paragraph, and today you spend 1 second to delete that paragraph, even though you feel you wasted your time last week, in actual fact, you should congratulate yourself. You should reward yourself, because today you know better than what you did last week. What you did last week, today you know better. You deleted because you know what you wrote last week is incorrect. If I were you, I will go out to get a Starbucks to reward myself. Okay, I'm a person who like to reward myself, to motivate myself in order to get more things done. Okay, thank you so much. I don't know whether if there's any question, let me just check. So back to you, Miss Nika.
Sir, there's a question from Miss Lorelei.
Okay.
It says here, are studies done more than 5 years ago still valid to be used as reference?
Okay. It depends on the situation. For example, if you are doing a study related to let's say virtual reality, artificial intelligence, in general, we would expect that you cite papers, recent papers, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Now, this doesn't mean publication in 2010 is useless. You can still use, but in general, we will expect that you cite more papers published in recent years. Why? Because of the topic. It's about artificial intelligence. It's about unmanned taxi, unmanned hotel. All right. If your study is about accounting, if your study is about what else? Employee engagement. Yes, in general, we also hope that you cite recent articles, but we can accept papers published in 2000, 2005, 2010. Why? Because theories related to employee engagement do not change so often. They do not change so often. So in that case, we can still accept publication 10 years ago, 20 years ago. It is not a problem, okay? Just remember that in general, you don't give the examiners the impression you did not update the literature. Then this is a major issue. I hope I answered the question.
Yes, thank you, sir. So another question from Miss Jasmine. She says, "Hi, sir. Aside from Google Scholar, are there any more sites that gives literature review?"
Yes. At the moment, if you talk about search engine, I would still recommend Google Scholar. Now, another thing, apart from what I said earlier, remember, you can also look at the authors. So you search by using authors' names, those gurus, those authorities. Apart from that, you can also go to the journals. For example, Emerald Publishing, Sachs, Wiley, Taylor and Francis. So for example, if you go to Emerald, let's say you are from tourism, then in Emerald, you can still narrow down. You just look at tourism journals. And from tourism journals, you can still narrow down what are the topics you want to look for from these tourism journals published in Emerald. Then I'm sure you will find papers related to your topic in those journals in Emerald. So there are many ways for you to search for articles. Very briefly, I hope I answer your question.
Yes, sir. We find it helpful. And we just want to take this opportunity to thank you for all the tools that you have shared to us.
Open secret.
Sir, another question from Miss Marabel. In deciding a research problem, do we need to search in advance if there's related literature available about the topic? If there is none, should we change our research problem? What if, just in case, there is no related literature and you're the first one to discuss that topic?
Okay. I mean, it is important, first of all, to realize that once you identify a potential research problem, you have to look into literature. Now, if you look at the literature and you cannot find the literature, my general response is it is not possible. My general response is it is not possible. The reason is because I'm thinking whether I should say this because I will spend another 10 minutes to explain. It is related to the topic, how specific and how broad it is. How specific and how broad it is. If you cannot find something in the literature, maybe because in your search, you want to find something specific. Now, if you cannot find something specific, you have to move along the continuum from specific to less specific. Okay? For example, I want to find an article about Dayak food and ethnic food in Sarawak, Dayak food. Okay? And Google Scholar cannot find this article. Why? Because no one has done Dayak food before. Now, does it mean I cannot find literature? The answer is no. Because what you should do is, since I cannot find articles related to Dayak food, I move along the continuum from specific to less specific. So Dayak food is under the umbrella of ethnic food. So in my next search, instead of typing Dayak food, I type ethnic food. Okay, or local food, or traditional food. You move along the continuum. Eventually, you will still find articles related to your study. Okay, this is number one. Number two, if you really, really, really cannot find, when I say really, you have to take note, because not every article is in English. There are many articles in Chinese. There are many articles in Indian. There are many articles in Japanese. When you say in your thesis, to date, no article, no study has been done on this. This is a very dangerous statement. Very dangerous statement. What if your examiner is from India and then he has read something in Indian literature? This has actually been done. That means your thesis, bye-bye, okay? All right, now, assuming no literature, there are two possibilities, okay? Number one, if you still want to do it, you can either be hero or zero, okay? You become hero because you are doing something no one has ever done before, okay? You will get a Nobel Prize. But please remember, our master, our MPA, our PhD is not for a Nobel Prize, okay? Don't do that, because the chance to become zero is higher, okay? So either you become hero or you become zero. So better don't. So if there is no literature, nothing to support, maybe it is better to not do this or change the issue a little bit so that you can find literature to support and there is a gap for you to do something further. I hope I explained, I give you a satisfactory answer.
Yes, sir. Thank you for encouraging us to really read a lot of literatures. Another question, sir, from Giancarlo. Hi, Sir Hiram. In preparing, writing a related literature to the research problem, by how many references, articles to be mentioned as related to the research problem? Is there any limitation? Thank you.
Okay. I know my answer will not please you, okay? And my answer is when it is enough. When it is enough. 4 words. Okay. Your question is how many, and my answer is when it is enough. I know there are some universities, there are some supervisors who like to give number, magic number. Some places say 30, some places say 40, some places say 50. I cannot tell you the answer because it depends on the situation. When you have enough to support, to justify what you want to argue, then that will be the number that you can stick to. I'm sorry, my answer disappoints you, but that is my answer. But earlier I said before, if you have the right skill to find good articles to give you a good idea whether your research problem is good enough or not, it could be just 3 to 5 articles. Okay, but of course you need more to support, but those number will be enough. No limitation, but it is not a good practice to put too many citations because that will give examiners, readers the impression that you lose your voice. Okay, you just compile everything to make it just another textbook. Thesis is not a textbook. Okay, so that will be my response to you.
Last question, sir. And it's a personal question. What motivates you as an individual to write research paper and to do research in general?
Okay.
From Ms. Lalane.
Oh, okay. Okay. This question excites me, but I've no time to tell you all the story because I have been helping a lot of junior researchers to do research and to motivate different people in different situations, to do research and also to write research paper. I can only tell you in general without elaborating too much. Number one, you only know what you really learn until you write. Okay, if I know something and I thought I know, the way to know whether I really know is to put it into writing and to get someone else to review. So that will allow me to know whether I really know what I know. Okay, so for me, that is a part of, remember, as I said earlier, curiosity, the process. I believe this is from, now what is his name? The developer of Apple. Can't remember his name. Stay hungry, stay foolish. Okay, stay hungry, stay foolish. The curiosity, the desire to learn more, to know more. I think this is from Socrates, Steve Jobs. Thank you. And I think this is from Socrates or Plato, or the Greek philosophers. Same thing. You only begin. I can't remember the quote. Basically, it's about learning. Okay, so that would be one of the main motivations. Secondly, I see the value it creates. For example, today, I will not be able to share with you all this if I did not go through all what I just said. And there is no shame to tell you that most of the things that I share with you today, they come from my failures and mistakes. If I only depend on my success, I will not be able to tell you so much. Okay, there is no one way. There's no one highway. There are multiple ways, and a lot of things I learned from failures and mistakes, and this motivates me, including today, to pass on knowledge, to share with you what I learned so far. So I don't know whether I answer your question, but the more I write, the more I do research, the more I understand myself, people around me, and the more I will be able to share, to help people in different situations to excel. Okay, if I didn't learn that much, maybe today I can only tell you this is the only way. Do it, do or die. That's it. Then my lecture can finish in 1 minute. All right. Sorry, that is my question. That is my answer to the question. A very brief one.
Thank you, sir. Thank you po. Thank you for everyone. So indeed, today was a productive day, and we just want to grab this opportunity also to thank you, Sir JR and Professor Cornell, for allowing us to meet Professor Hiram Ting. We truly appreciate all your efforts, and it seems like everyone in the class truly appreciate you, Dr. Hiram Ting, and we learned a lot. We really learned a lot from you today, and it lightens
Thank you so
us
much.
and lessen our burden in doing the business research and soon our thesis. So to award the certificate of recognition and to formally close the program, let us welcome Professor McMacNartea. Hi, sir.
Thank you, Nika.
Thank you rin po.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hiram. But before I formally award your certificate, let me read first the citation. Republic of the Philippines, Polytechnic University of the Philippines, College of Business and Administration, Graduate Studies. This certificate of recognition is awarded to Dr. Hiram Ting, Associate Professor, UCI University, Malaysia, Chairman, Sarawak Research Society, and Asian Ambassador of Emerald Publishing for sharing his expertise as a special guest lecturer on nature and scope of business research process, and business research literature review on July 4, 2020 through a virtual session. Given this July 4, 2020, signed Dr. Raquel G. Ramos, College Dean.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations. We are truly grateful, sir, with your task and this talk rather. Hopefully, this will not the last, and we're looking forward to more sessions with you, sir.
Thank you. Looking forward. My pleasure.
Is there Professor Emidio?
Sir, thank you very much for saying yes to our invitation for this afternoon, and we're looking forward to your visit in our university as soon as the pandemic is over.
Looking
Again-
forward to that.
Again, sir, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I will pass the slides to you if the students need it, but mostly are pictures, so I don't know. Okay.
Before we end this session, sir, can we have a photo off?
Oh, sure.
Okay. So may I request everybody to turn on your videos or photo off. Thank you. Okay, for the first
Bye.
slide. 1, 2, 3. Okay, next one. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Okay, third.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. That would be all. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, sir. Nice meeting you.
Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Take care.
Thank you po, sir.
4,500 LSI ang mga kaulang sa Mindanao sa kanyang 400